Welcome back to my One Perfect Scene series. Today's episode will be on There Will Be Blood.
When it comes to the showdown, they won't be there.
This is one of the best films from the last few decades, and is one that is perhaps a career best from Paul Thomas Anderson,
Ordinarily, we're the ones asking the question.
while being amongst a career of spectacular films. But what makes this film so good? And what makes Daniel Plainview such a complex character?
Ladies and gentlemen, if I say I'm an oil man, you will agree.
I'd like to talk about a lesser discussed scene in which I feel is particularly perfect. No, not the eruption scene, nor the bowling alley scene.
I drink your milkshake.
Nor this one. Rather, I will be dissecting the meeting with Sun scene. I'll set the stage. Daniel Plainview is an oil tycoon who, throughout the course of the movie, has worked to build his empire. We find him at a place where he has succeeded. He is now exorbitantly wealthy and lives in a mansion, but we find that it is one with empty halls. He spends all day signing checks and playing with guns. What once used to be a telescope to assess the land for oil usage is now but a scope for target practice. His son comes to visit.
Come in, come in.
The son comes not alone, but with a sign language translator. Daniel is immediately put off by this. He sees his intrusion and creates his own intrusion.
Can we be alone?
This is my closest associate. He hears everything.
He asks where he's been, but he already knows the answer.
Or do you think I don't know?
He then gives the translator yet another side eye. His son then tells him that
I'm going to Mexico. I'm taking Mary, and I'm going to Mexico.
Daniel's drink signifies this lack of belief or care. His son confesses that he's going to
Start my own company.
a confession I'm certain he hoped his father would be proud of, to go into the world and make a name for himself like his father did before him. But he doesn't see it like that.
This makes you my competitor.
This is where the dichotomy forms within the scene, or at least becomes more present. And this dichotomy reflects a larger one within the movie as a whole. Look at what he says next.
We're making such a misstep.
Does he say this line because he's afraid of his son's well-being, for his son's success? I don't think so. Does he say it because he's trying to avoid gaining another competitor? To avoid losing any semblance of his immense wealth? Well, this most definitely is a factor to account for when dissecting his motivations. Throughout the course of the film, he has been willing to do anything to see the furthering of his own fortune. But I think there's something deeper and more twisted going on here.
If you've got something to say to me, then say it. I'd like to hear you speak instead of your little dog. Woof, 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 woof.
Again, bringing up the interpreter. Why does he feel so offended by his existence? It could be that he's insulted that a man of his power and status has to go through a middleman. Or it could have something to do with the person who is being mediated. But despite all his efforts to make sure his son can't tell him he's leaving by taking away his voice, his son speaks anyway.
I'm going to Mexico with my wife. I'm going away from you.
Killing us with what you're doing.
Odd phrasing. Us. Not me, to guilt his son into hurting his father, but us, that he's harming both of them, their relationship.
You're not my son.
This is the nail in the coffin for their relationship. What intrigues me the most here is how Daniel feels the need to say this to him.
You're an orphan.
The truth comes out. The reality of his adoption comes to light. Clearly a technique used to gain power in the conversation. And as such, the camera closes in on him.
You're an orphan from a basket in the middle of the desert.
He takes another drink to show his lack of care. But this visual doubling down shows that there may not be much truth in that gesture.
Look at me. You're lower than a bastard.
Really rubbing salt into the wound here, for someone pointing out how they have no blood ties and how he sees none of his son in him. He sure does want to make a show out of it.
I thank God I have none of you in me.
The son leaves and his father yells down the hall. Even in a room by himself, where his son can hardly hear him, he yells it. What happens next, I feel, is the key to unlocking the deeper emotions of the scene. We see a playful moment between him and his son. Why do we see this? Could this be from Daniel's perspective? For as much as he's been shown to hate his son throughout the course of this film, and through the scene in particular, we are shown a moment of warmth. This is the dichotomy I spoke of earlier. The hatred and the love. Was there love for his son? Was there love for his brother? Is it possible for love to grow within this inhuman monster of a man?
One night I'm gonna come to you inside of your house, wherever you're sleeping, and I'm gonna cut your throat.
He would certainly like you to believe not, unless, that is, you are one of his customers. But one must ask oneself, when watching this scene, why would he care so much about losing his son if he is but a bastard in a basket? Having a competitor doesn't matter at this stage. On numerous viewings of this film, I saw this spite as tactical, as a way for Daniel to rid himself of all that is no longer useful or profitable to him. But now I see the scene as one where Daniel is instead ridding himself of the only thing he truly loves. And therefore, he was once a person, not a monster, and once had a love in his heart. His removal of this love was the last step he needed to take in order to become the most powerful man who he has always dreamt he would be. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any movies you'd like me to make a video essay on, then please comment those ideas down below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out a lot. This has been Sessions on Cinema, and thank you for watching.